Nissan has only one electric car for sale in China. And they sold about 1,000 in total over the past 8 months. In the world's biggest car market, 28 million car sales per year, one EV, and they're selling around 200 per month. Nissan, my friends, is absolutely screwed. And if you hang around to the end of this video, I'm going to prove to you exactly why that is. You know, even the banks could see what was about to happen to Nissan. So it wasn't really a genius prediction by me to say that, well, Nissan was dead in the water in China, which is its most important car market in the world. And what we thought would happen, what I thought would happen, I think what most of you thought would happen has just happened. This is disastrous for Nissan. Its debt was downgraded to junk. I believe the finance markets saw this coming. And now Nissan is in a catastrophic position. If it wants to borrow money to try and dig itself out of a hole, its lending rates are nearly double the lending rates of a car company such as, well, Tesla. But that's its competition. Hello, my friends. Welcome to the channel. Great to see you. Thank you for tuning in. I'm Sam Evans. As you can tell, I'm not a fan of Nissan. In fact, I believe the company is rotten to the core. There is no other automotive company. Now, the Volkswagen Group have done some terrible things. They have, to be honest. So Mercedes has been caught for Dieselgate as well. So has BMW, Audi, so has Stellantis, so has Jeep. Many companies have been caught. Now, Toyota has been caught as well. The Hino trucking division, they're in court right now for the Dieselgate scandal. They've been basically doing the same thing for the last 12 years. A lot of companies have done that. However, when it comes to the corporate culture of Nissan, I believe they're morally bankrupt. Now, don't get me wrong, I don't like Carlos Ghosn, but the antics of Nissan, the fact that they think it's legal to bug your house, to put secret cameras in your house, doesn't matter who you are, they think this is legal to do this to all executives in the company, and they did this to company employees for numerous years in a row in order to prevent basically certain employees who weren't from Japan from actually progressing in the company or for having too much power. And then in order to find dirt on them, this is just one of a number of things that Nissan does and they think this is acceptable. Now, for those of you who don't know, in Japan, there is a 99% conviction rate. If you get accused of a crime in Japan, you are screwed. So for all these Nissan employees accused of crimes, they never had a chance. Didn't matter if they were guilty or innocent, didn't matter. That 99% conviction rate is legitimate. Now, I'm standing here criticizing Nissan because, to be honest, really, this is karma coming back to bite them. At least that's what I think. Anyway, on September the 7th, Nissan China released its sales performance data for August 2023. According to carnagechina.com, Nissan's China sales for the month reached 64,905 vehicles. Sounds like a lot, doesn't it? Actually, it's disastrous. This reflects a year-over-year decline of 35%. But the thing is, if you're talking a year-over-year decline of 35% for just 1 year, it wouldn't be too bad. But if you're talking about this happening year after year after year, that's where things look really bad. To put this into perspective, in August 2022, Nissan sales in China were recorded at 99,570 units. A year earlier, in August 2021, the numbers were much higher at 113,000. The year before that, same scenario. In August 2023, Dongfeng Nissan, which encompasses the Nissan, Venucia and Infiniti brands, sold 62,000 vehicles. The light commercial vehicle segment under Zhengzhou Nissan contributed an additional 2,938. So far this year in China, Nissan sales are down 35.2%. And to give you some context though, this is actually disastrous. Only a few years ago, Nissan was selling well over 1 million vehicles in the first 8 months of the year. This year, they sold 482,000. Their sales have more than halved within a few years. Nissan has so much excess production capacity in China right now that they're planning, as per Automotive News, to ship these cars around the world from China. The Japanese government and Toyota apparently are not too happy about this. However, Nissan said it is going to export vehicles from China to soak up Massive excess bloated capacity in a market where rapidly imploding sales are becoming a major headache and a drag on global profits. The CEO of Nissan said that Nissan must consider new measures to shore up operations in China, where Nissan sales slumped by 46% in the previous quarter. So we're talking quarter after quarter of bad news. Going forward, he said, we'll be changing the way we do our Chinese operations. Now, the biggest problem here for Nissan, and I pointed this out a number of times, is their best-selling car by a mile. It was the best-selling car in China, period, for a number of years, is the Nissan Sylphy. Now, this thing is old school, it's ancient, it's a sedan, and it's internal combustion powered. Nissan are saying they've got this brand new version, it's going to be amazing, it's just come out apparently. It's just a hybrid. I mean, the Chinese market have moved on from these old products. There is just no real way I see Nissan even holding anywhere near the market share they even have today at their massively reduced numbers. I mean, look at their numbers again in 12 months. I can almost certainly guarantee they will have lost at least an additional 30 to 40% market share. Nissan's sales are in free fall. And this is all happening in slow motion. It's like slow motion carnage because the banks saw it happening. They downgraded Nissan's debt to junk. This was right after Nissan went to the Japanese government and asked them for a bailout. They did. They asked them for a bailout. Now, how many times Nissan has asked the Japanese government for a bailout? How many more times do you think the Japanese government is going to agree to this? However, these bailouts are conditional. Nissan doesn't get given the money for free. The Japanese government doesn't have the money. They're the most indebted country in the history of the universe. I'm talking the history of the universe, period. Per capita, they have more than twice the debt of the average American. It's insane, the debt in Japan. And their automakers are no different. International brands, including Nissan and other Japanese brands such as Mitsubishi and Toyota, are struggling in China as per Automotive News, where they have trailed domestic competitors in meeting booming demand for electric cars. Mitsubishi suspended production completely in China, and it's just left. It's left its factories. It's just taken off. I mean, we've seen Jeep do the same thing. How long before Nissan becomes the next Mitsubishi? A few years, maybe? Now think about this. China represents 35% or more of Nissan's global car sales on average over the past 5 years. This is a lot of sales to lose. Now, Ukeda, the CEO, in announcing financial results on Wednesday for the fiscal first quarter ended June 30, trimmed Nissan's full fiscal year sales outlook, citing the dire sales decline in the world's biggest car market. Nissan cut its sales forecast down to 800,000 units for the current fiscal year, which is from March 31, 2023 to March 31, 2024. That is down from their original goal of 1.14 million and represents a 23% slide from last year's also down numbers. To deal with this decline, Nissan will speed the introduction of so-called new energy vehicles, plug-in hybrids, and hybrids, which is what they're called in China. But the thing is, no one in China wants Nissan's EVs. I mean, look at the dominance of the local car brands. The problem is here, right? Locals in China, they think that they make EVs better than other companies that are not from China. And Nissan called this racist. They said Chinese people are being racist, but this will change. Don't worry, they'll get over it or whatever. Their butt hurt and they'll get over it. And I don't think this is true. I think it's correct. China makes better EVs than Japan does. I mean, is anyone arguing that fact? Surely not. But Nissan, they're so delusional. They don't see it. They don't see the fact that Chinese consumers are not going to buy Nissan EVs because they don't think Nissan makes good ones. Because, in fact, Nissan doesn't even make them. They're joint venture partnerships with local car companies. Those local car companies are making those EVs. They're basically just badge engineering, slapping Nissan badges on their own cars and calling them a Nissan EV. And customers are not stupid enough. Why would they buy that version when they can buy the local version for cheaper? Or buy a local branded EV with a good name. Aeon, Leap Motor, Tesla, BYD, NIO, XPeng. there's a lot of choice. As you can see, very, very tough situation for Nissan to be in. And it's not just Chinese consumers. Now, this is the big problem here. Everyone is going electric. Europe, North America, these three areas are the world car market. China, Europe, North America, that's about 85% of the global car market. They're all electrifying very, very quickly. And in the US, Nissan thought, hey, you know what? We've got this new EV, the Nissan Ariya. People are going to love it, right? It's going to be great. The thing is, no one's buying the Ariya. Nissan are discounting it to the point where they're clearly losing money on every sale. They've got well over 180 days of stock. That's 4 times the industry average. And it's a brand new EV, and people aren't buying it. Nissan is simply unprepared for the future of electrification. Now, Nissan legitimately believes that the Nissan Qashqai will save the company. In fact, its CEO said with the launch of the Venucia DDI Super Hybrid, I think they're Super Hybrid, they call it a Super Hybrid, models in July this year, and the launch of the all-new third generation Nissan Qashqai, which is an internal combustion engine vehicle, Nissan's presence in China has been further enriched. Basically, the Qashqai, over the past 15 years, has garnered awards and accolades in China, and it's witnessed cumulative sales exceeding 1.7 million vehicles. But that's the end. It's internal combustion. It doesn't have a future. Whether or not it's this year or next year or the following year, it doesn't really matter. The writing is on the wall. It's game over. Here's what Carnage China said. Nissan is lagging in EV adoption and hasn't taken it seriously. One of the significant contributors to Nissan's recent challenges has been the rise of domestically produced EVs in China. Nissan's transition to EVs has been sluggish. Presently, Nissan China offers only one EV, the Ariya, which achieved cumulative sales of 1,469 units from January to July. Come on, they're selling 200 a month in the world's biggest car market. 28 million car sales a year. They're selling 200 a month of the only EV they sell. I think that really does make my point. The Chinese don't want Nissan EVs. Pretty soon, they're not going to be buying Nissan cars, period. Whether that's this year, next year, or within the next 3 or 4 years. It doesn't make a whole lot of difference. Nissan is screwed.